Next to Jane is Susan Bone O'Brien, and Susan is a family nurse practitioner with Jefferson County Public Health, and she works with the health needs in the schools as well as with family planning in the county. And Susan is going to talk to us, as are all the panelists, about what services they provide and the challenges that are there for providing those services, and then what we can do as a group or individuals to make a difference in making sure those services are provided.
I just want to say thank you, everybody, for coming. And I also just want to say I am so fortunate to get to work with the women in this community, the young women, the girls, the teens, and all the adolescents in the school-based clinics. I feel very fortunate about that. Thank you, Julia. That was actually really helpful. So the school-based clinic started in 2008, and at the time, there were quite a few school-based clinics in the Seattle area, and their funding was actually mostly levies. And so at the time, the state was going to be giving a grant, and it was 2008 when everything tanked in the economy, and so that didn't happen. So kind of on a wing and a prayer, the school-based clinics opened, and we were planning on billing Medicaid and insurance when we were able to do so. So that's kind of how it started. We are the only two school-based clinics on the whole peninsula, although Port Angeles is really working hard to get one started there. In our two clinics in each of the high schools, we have medical services 2 days a week. I also want to say my colleague, Sarah Kierkegaard, is a nurse practitioner, and she works in the Chimacum School. I'm in the Port Townsend, and we both work at the main clinic, the Women's Health Clinic, here in Port Townsend. So 2 days a week, we provide medical services to the students. It's comprehensive medical care, but also includes reproductive health. And then 2 days a week, there is a mental health therapist from Discovery Behavioral Health that provides services to the students. And that's paid for by a local sales tax, the 1/10 of 1%. Sarah and I work really closely with the students' primary care providers and their parents if it's a non-confidential services. And also, Dr. Sarah Schmidt is she's a consultant for us and helps us get kids services that they need at Jefferson Healthcare. So that's a great connection as well. The other thing that we're able to do at both the school clinics and the main clinic is actively enroll women and students in the Washington State medical expansion, and that's been really helpful for them as well as for us. As far as reproductive health, of course, the privacy and confidentiality is really our huge priority there, and because of the state's law here that anybody of any age can consent to birth control, we follow that rule. And we encourage students to share their reproductive issues with their parents if they feel comfortable, but trust that they know the proper time. So that's how we approach it. So billing confidentiality is really important. And take charge, which Julie was talking about, even though the ACA came on board and a lot of people have insurance, if kids are covered by their parents' private insurance, we can't really bill that insurance and keep the confidentiality of the student. So we are able to then enroll them into Take Charge. So Take Charge is really great for these confidential teens. And when the ACA came on board, the state started talking about, well, maybe we can get rid of Take Charge because people are on ACA. And it's kind of a small population, but it's an important population of teen confidentiality that we need to keep the Take Charge program for those students, or at least figure out something that will work equally well. The other thing that we're able to do at the schools, of course, is even broader issues such as drugs and alcohol, violence prevention, and of course safe sex is part of the family planning as well. We occasionally get phone calls from an angry parent who has maybe found a pack of pills in the closet or something. And but actually what usually happens is once they sort of know what our services are, the parent usually figures out that we're on the same page. We want exactly what they want for their child. We want them to have good education, make good decisions, and be safe. And so usually that's diffused pretty easily. There was one student a few years back from Chimacum, and she did this beautiful oil painting for her senior project, and she gifted it to the clinic. And she shared with us that the symbolic images there, elements of health, wellness, safety, and nurturing youth. And she told us, she said, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have the clinic there. It was a really important part for her successful graduation. So, Julie already talked about a lot of the challenges. Obviously, the ACA, we don't know what's happening with that, and we do get a lot of our funding through the billing of that. And then the House Democratic budget, they just passed last week, and it does maintain current family planning services, but the Senate Republican budget cuts state funding, so they're still sort of working out that negotiation, so that'll be interesting to see how that works out. Take charge, I want to just reiterate that that's important, or something like that is important for that little niche of the confidential teens for our services. And then confidentiality for teens in general, because the specific mindful awareness of the billing, that's so important, and we actually do this really well at the health department. And my worry is that at a larger institution, the sort of defaults, that's going to be compromised, and that's a big concern for me. In addition, as far as what's helpful, in addition to what Julia said, Board of Health, which meets the third Thursday of every month at Jefferson County Public Health at 2:30, the public is welcome there, and the county commissioners are also part of that. And then you mentioned all the other people, I think, that I was going to say, and I think that's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you.